Let's hope this recording works because AWS is fucking with everybody's shit. But I think everything's back online.
What the hell is AWS anyways?
That's the Amazon. I think it's their web service. It's Amazon Web Service. They control a good majority of every goddamn thing we do on the internet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh
So
yeah,
they control this platform, obviously.
yeah. They use so certain programmers and app developers and browsers use that in particular. So that's why today a lot of people were dealing with some bullshit with trying to sign into their bank accounts or going and using like gaming systems or apps like Riverside FM. Shout out to Riverside.fm. That's what we use for our recording, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. If those of you who are interested in ever recording a podcast, this is what me and Mr. Vincent use on our podcast. But yeah, they it's a global thing too, by the way. It's global. It's not only US shit. So it affected everything globally, but the East Coast of the US was the most impacted by this. So luckily everybody survived and there was no issues other than some people not being able to get into some apps.
Yeah, I saw the Earn Your Leisure posted a story on IG. I saw
Mm-hmm.
Amazon but why is everything else down? I didn't know. Now you told me that.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man, it's that time of the year again. The NBA season is literally starting tomorrow on a
Yes,
Tuesday
sir.
night. Before I get started, this is Sports Talk with DesPain with yours truly, of course. And I also have my brother, Mr. Vincent, the host of the Mr. Vincent Podcast, and many other different things that this man is the Swiss Army knife of his he's like you have your portfolio is a Swiss Army knife. You do a bunch of stuff, and of course I'll let you plug it in at the end of the pod so people know where to find you and all that good stuff. But the season's among us, but of course football is always king in the fall, and we know that the season has already started. Week 7 is concluding tonight. We have Monday Night Football. Currently, Lions are up 14-3. They should be up by like 28-3. Like, they fucking around. And that's what happens, man. When you fuck around and try to play with your food and try to get cute out there and do all that stupid shit, you're gonna get your ass kicked, or you're gonna at least give the other team opportunity to do what they got to do. And then tonight is Seattle Seahawks hosting the Houston Texans. These are not bad games. It just sucks that you have to watch football at 10 p.m. You know, people
Yeah.
like you and I, by the time 12 hits, our eyes start doing one of these, and like, I remember.
I'm usually knocked by.
Right, I remember. Was it the Pack? No, it wasn't the Packers game. I was up for that, but there was another game that went to OT recently. I literally had one eye like this watching the TV, waiting for that game to end. I was like desperate for the game to end so I could fall asleep. But nonetheless, before we get into the NBA, we're gonna go over like our predictions of the year, like we do every year. I used to like to do the rankings thing. I'm gonna leave that for probably like mid-season or quarter season. But how you feeling about the season so far in the NFL?
NFL season, so far so good. I'm happy for the Pats. Looking like I have predicted a 9-8 season.
Mm-hmm.
Looking a little better than I thought they would. They potentially can win the division, the NFC East, the AFC East rather. Which I thought that the Bills are dominated for so long, and if they're not able to capitalize and win a division, that being the Bills, it's like damn, all the time you had in the post Brady era, where you just had a stranglehold on this division and you had nothing to show for it. And then now you got real comp with the Patriots, who look like a competent organization again. Drake May's looking like the best quarterback from his class. I'm not saying he is, but he's definitely having the best sophomore campaign out of all the quarterbacks. Vrabel's around people. He's a legit NFL coach. So it's happy. I'm happy to see everything that's going on transpiring. But overall, the season has some twists and turns we've seen. The Eagles aren't really looking like themselves, especially from their previous season. Not running the ball as well. Old line's not performing as well. Obviously, you got the receivers over there who aren't really happy because they're not getting the ball, and Smith and Brown. So
Right.
I know your Packers are doing the thing, holding it down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people, like, when I see this, like, we're almost midway to the season. Week 9 is about like halfway through. And the first month is like super overreaction. Everybody's like assuming this, assuming that. I think one of the major predictions I had was about how the Dolphins didn't look right even before the season even started. Like too much like chattery, too much like distractions. That's what happens when you live when you're a city that's like Miami. There's a lot of like Miami, New York, LA. When you are distracted, it's blatant. Like people can see it, and it affects the team. And I knew that was.
And the media out there is like so like ruthless out there. The media, it's
Oh
like
yeah,
big
yeah.
market.
Oh yeah, when you're in those bigger markets, the media is tough on you, and then because Florida is a football state, is a huge football state. They're more of a college football state than a Miami Dolphins, community. But Miami Dolphins had relevancy for a couple of years with Mike McDaniel's getting there, and Tyreek Hills and the Tua, playing. He was playing well until this season. But I think everybody's confirmation bias started actually absolutely coming to fruition, and which sucks because I always back Tua because I'll tell you what, playing quarterback in the NFL is not the easiest thing ever. Some quarterbacks in the past have made it seem like it was like getting up was easy to do that shit and throw it around, but it's not easy. So I give them grace. All these quarterbacks, I give them grace. I could talk my shit during the game, but I have to understand, like, if I watch actual film and watch it in totality, I could probably point out where there's some things that were not at fault of the quarterback at all these blunders. You know what I'm saying? Because the game of football, unlike the game of basketball that we're about to talk about, you absolutely need all 11 guys to be on point, or else this shit's not gonna work. Basketball, you could have your five on five. Two of the five might be having a tough game and struggling, but you got a couple stars that could pick them all the way up and drop 30 each, and do what they got to do, and you don't even realize that your center had one of the worst games of his career. You know what I'm saying? Or better yet, if you're having a bad game on offense, you can make it up on defense. That's the beauty of playing both sides in the NBA. But NFL, you don't have the opportunity. If you throw a pick as a quarterback, you're sitting there in the bench like, damn, man, I gotta wait. I gotta hope my defense get the ball back and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, like I said, confirmation bias is coming to fruition for a lot of people with people like Tua and certain players or certain teams that are not playing well. But nonetheless, yeah, I agree with you. The Patriots do look good. Drake May does look good. I also believe that draft class of quarterbacks is a unique and very special draft class of quarterbacks because they were all part of the COVID time where they extended some of their careers in college. Drake was obviously the youngest of the group, but he still played a lot of football as well as a young quarterback in college. So it's exciting to see it. It seems like all those franchises made the right call, except for probably Minnesota, but it's yet to be seen with that JJ McCarthy situation over there. But yeah, Tampa's driving right now. But yeah, we're here to talk about the NBA. The tip off is tomorrow. The games are on. Are they tipping off on NBC?
NBC simulcast on Peacock for tomorrow night's games.
That's fire. I ain't gonna lie, I'm excited to hear the Michael Jordan interview and seeing how involved he is with NBC and Peacock. That would be pretty dope to see that. But we got those two matchups tomorrow. We have OKC Houston. That will start off the night, and then the evening ends with your Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. All four teams, well, three of those four teams look a little different now, or not too different. The Lakers don't look extremely different, but they have added some pieces that they didn't have last year, like Marcus Smart and Ayton. But then you have like Golden State picking up Al Horford, somehow keeping Kuminga. I think that was probably the most underrated move for the offseason that happened, because I thought that was a relationship that was done. You know what I mean? And then you have, Oklahoma City just running it back with the whole squad that they have. And then you got Houston with their big lineup. I don't know how that's gonna look. Everybody is their whole lineup's gonna be what 6-7 plus starting tomorrow. From what they say.
Yeah, tomorrow. I think it's going to be Thompson, KD,
Mm-hmm.
Jabari, Tangoon, and Steven Adams. That's insane.
That's
So yeah,
insane.
I want to see how they match up against OKC tomorrow night.
You know what? And I
Thompson's
didn't.
probably going to mean that.
Yeah,
I'm thinking Thompson's going to guard. Thompson has to guard SGA going off the gate. That's going to be
Yeah,
obvious.
100%, 100%. And you know what? Now that you mentioned OKC's line, OKC, I forgot their lineup is relatively big too. So it
Yeah,
makes a lot
you got the
of sense.
double bigs.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense to match up, and that's kind of the idea now in the Western Conference. You have to have double bigs to match up with that type. That team is just juggernaut. Like when they're all hitting in all cylinders, it's really hard to beat Oklahoma City. But I mean, we're not going to get in too deep with the matchups themselves. I haven't really done a lot of research on a lot of the teams and how their rosters look. There is one thing I must say, like I'm a big fan of like offseason moves that are not big headlines, like those role players that end up going in. There's a lot of role players that moved around this offseason, and you're gonna watch it on Tuesday and Wednesday, like, oh, I didn't know this dude got signed over there. Unless you've been watching preseason, you won't know. Like some of these guys have gone to franchises that might work in their favor. It's always the role players that tend to be the reason why or help you get over that hump like Caruso did for OKC last season. And then the season prior to that, the Celtics had, they pretty much had their whole squad, but their role players stepped up and in a bigger way that season a couple years ago. But I wanted to start off by talking about our respective teams that we root for. How do you feel about the Lakers going into this season?
I mean, I don't think they're legit contenders to win the championship, but they made the improvements that they needed to make. They got a lot of people on short deals, like the DeAndre Ayton trade. I'm not the biggest fan of DeAndre Ayton. Well, I say acquisition, he wasn't traded for. The acquisition for DeAndre Ayton. I'm not the biggest fan of him. I don't like his motor. He's good though. I think that he's not really the ideal big that plays best with Luka. More like a lively gaffer who's like crazy athletic at the rim, just at the gym. But he's a serviceable big, and we got him on the cheap for a couple of years. So we have flexibility there with him. But I think that he's going to be a good addition. I know Luka pushed for him. He pushed for Marcus Smart. At this point in Marcus Smart's career, I don't know if he can really guard like really fast point guards at this stage of his career. I think it's like 30, 31. He probably fit to guard like more like a 3 or 4s, even 4s with his strength and his lower body strength. He can match up well against there. But yeah, I mean, Luka looks motivated, coming into shape, probably the best shape he's been arguably of his career, at least his professional career in the NBA. Yeah, I know he's highly motivated. He had a lot of people slandering him over the summer, and after getting traded from Dallas and everything. So I think he can be extra motivated to show everybody that like they made the wrong choice for trading from him. Like this guy is a 5-time first team All NBA performer, former Rookie of the Year. I'm sure he finished like top 3 in league MVP voting multiple times, at least once. So yeah, that's looking good. LeBron, year 23 now. Don't really know what to expect from him. I know he's got that back issue. That's going to keep him up till mid-November, so that's kind of a bummer for the Lakers.
Yeah.
So I do think that they are taking a step in the right direction. I don't think they're on the level of OKC or Denver. Probably, maybe Minnesota, although I have some questions about them as they're heading forward to this season. So I do think at best they can be a team and a seed in the Western Conference. At best, fifth. But I think more realistically, you're looking at 6-7 for them. I do respect Luka a lot. I think Luka will be a first team All NBA performer again this season, and his presence is going to help them get that status in the Western Conference in like a 5-7 range
Mm-hmm.
in terms of seeding.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it seem like I know a lot about what's going on with the Lakers, but what I will say is, like you brought up Luka, and I know he got into shape, and I think even when he was not in shape, he's valuable as hell. Like he was doing that shit. He still averaged 30 points last year, right?
I feel like
Not
28. I think
28. So like I think he was averaging 30 with Dallas, and then he obviously averages less because he wasn't playing as much with the Lakers. I think being that he's going to be without Braun for at least that first month of the season, I think that is going to help him build the continuity that he needs to with those guys that he, like you mentioned, vouch for to be on the team. Because at the end of the day, he's a maestro, bro. Like he is the ultimate. He's the ultimate maestro. Like he's the ultimate. Like he knows how to orchestrate an offense by himself with as the main point guard of the team. And I think all the guys will. When I see him as a person that elevates his roster when he's there. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, absolutely.
Like, when you saw him with Dallas, no matter if they had, even over like he brought Dallas to what two Western Conference Finals. He went to a finals. Like And at 24 years old, like he's the kid is not a slouch. He knows what to do. He just didn't commit himself on the offseason work to just become a better player, like a better individual, like overall player. In which, if that's what we're gonna see out of him going forward, like that's a big deal for the Lakers. But like you mentioned, like they might be a middling team only because of how the West is. And then it all depends on how LeBron like meshes with this team, because being that he's 40 and he probably hasn't really done a lot of practice with these guys since he's he's a veteran. Like I don't think people need to be on his back about like him being available all off season. This motherfucker's 40, 41, about to be 41. Like he's
in
been to
December.
you know what I'm saying? This is his 23rd year. Like, you think this man really needs a whole off season to be, you know what I'm saying? He's 1 foot out at this point in my mind. I think he's 1 foot out. He's ready to make that decision at some point. Of course, he's chasing a championship. So whether he's gonna end up getting that championship with the Lakers or elsewhere, that's really up to him. I don't think he has much else to prove. Like if you're trying to, get those naysayers off your back, I get it. But listen, LeBron James, these people will always be on your back because your fan base will always be making it seem as if you were begging for all this attention. Like you didn't call yourself the king in high school, somebody else did. So you just lived up to the moniker, and that's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like I said, I don't think he has anything to prove. Like he's accomplished enough, and we're gonna have to just appreciate what we see, whether he plays a full season or not. But it's more than likely he's gonna be load managing most of this season, which is good for Luka. I think Luka is gonna be taking over that squad anyways. Did he end up getting that extension, or they're still thinking
Yeah,
about?
he got a
They did
session.
give an extension, yeah. So Luka extended for what 3 years, I believe, and then that
I
leaves
think a play,
them
I think a playoffs after the third year. I think,
after the
if I
third
remember
year.
correctly.
So more than likely, he'll probably re-up for a longer term if he wants to continue to be a Laker. I look at that move for Luka like the way that the Dodgers got Shohei Ohtani. If you really think about it, like it's parallel. Like when you get a generational talent like that and you spend the bucks for that, you know what you're getting out of that situation, and the goal is to make it to championship. So good luck to the Lakers.
So I'm gonna look up right now with Luka's extension for the Lakers. Yep, he signed a 3-year, 165 extension with the Lakers, includes a player option in 2028. Keeps him through the Lakers. Keep him with the Lakers through at least 27, 2028. Now, last season he did average. I pulled it up to while we was talking. I think it was 20. As long as I can get back to the page, what was that? 28 points, 8 rebounds, just shy of 8 assists on 45% shooting from the field. That was the stats last year.
Okay. And that was with what we would consider limited timing, limited time, and all that stuff. So,
And yeah, that's Luka out of shape, still dealing with the emotional effects of being traded, out of being blindsided by a trade. So we should take that into consideration as well. And good to notice that you're talking about the Dodgers ownership for the Lakers. The owners of the Dodgers own the Lakers now, and from what I hear about them, they are very committed to winning and excellence and everything. Like they strive to be the best organization possible. I don't
right.
follow baseball like that, so I don't know. But obviously, what I'm seeing with aren't they playing right now to go to the World Series, or they already punched a ticket to the World Series, and they've done
Yeah,
it for
yeah.
like several seasons.
The Dodgers are awaiting whoever wins tonight's baseball game at the World Series, which starts on Friday, for those who don't know. But yes, to what Eman was saying, yes, that's the ownership group is currently the group that owns the Dodgers, which is
So
funny because that brings back Magic Johnson and the whole nine, which is pretty interesting.
So clearly, these guys aren't afraid to spend to get the
Yeah,
best results. So Lakers are in good hands for the foreseeable future in that
yeah.
aspect for sure.
And with all that being said, that's kind of the opposite way I feel about the Celtics with their ownership turnover, because as we already seen, the second apron definitely affected them a lot this past offseason. And I think a lot of it was due to the fact that, they weren't willing to pay all that tax if they didn't know what the status of Jason Tatum's, of him returning, which we already know he's going to return at some point. Depending on how the season goes, he may end up returning as early as maybe March, maybe February, like depending on how it goes and if there's no setbacks.
You've been a Celtics fan. Do
Mhm.
you want to see him return this season, or are you in the camp that says, "Hey, man, just relax. Let's make this a gap year. Come back when you're 110%, and we'll just try to go for it next season"? this year it's a loss. We know you're going to be up for the majority of the season. Let's just, have a little growing pains here, possibly get a high pick in the draft, possibly, or a decent pick in the draft. What camp are you in?
I'm in the camp of him, like, just because of what we've seen throughout the years. Like, I know people were talking about like how Kobe came back in 8 months after he tore his Achilles.
And he has lingering injuries that followed after that.
Bingo. So I get it. People will say, well, he's still a young guy, but Tatum's closer to 30 than he is 21. Like, we can't. A professional athlete's body deteriorates a little bit faster the closer they get to 30. And like, that's why it's so amazing to see certain players like LeBron, KD, the long line of, the mid 2000 to late 2000 players that got drafted that are still playing in the league. You have to really, really take care of your body to go into these seasons. And, I feel like Tatum's that one of those type of players to do so. But like, I would like do as much rehab as possible. Strengthen those legs, like strengthen your core, strengthen your body, get your biomechanics on point. Because it's a marathon, not a sprint when it comes to playing basketball. So if he really wants to like be the best version of himself, I think taking the time that he needs. We also don't know the status of JB after he strained his hamstring in their last
He did.
preseason game. So that kind of like, gives you an idea of like what the season may look like. We may know, we've seen it every year. Jaylen Brown does not have healthy seasons. And I'm not saying he doesn't have the full complement of a season. He just doesn't play a full 82. Like, that's not ever going to happen. He doesn't play a full 7. Sometimes he doesn't make it to 70. You know what I'm saying? And I think last season he went into the playoffs limping pretty much. So he's also on the, closer to 30 than he is to 21 as well. So a lot of factors and variables to what it may be. So to answer your question, in a shorter way, I would prefer that he can just sit out as long as possible, that he can continue to rehab. Let's just keep an eye on what the team looks like, because you don't know. Like, Simon at the moment is part of this team. By the deadline, he might be gone. Hauser might be gone by the deadline as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, the team's not going to look the same even going into next offseason, because they're still going to be dealing with the apron situation. So I think what ultimately needs to happen is that he just sit out as long as he can. I think if the Celtics are relatively healthy, I think they're a middling team in the East, because the East is not as, top heavy or middle to top heavy like the West is. They can sneak in even in the play-in. So I don't think a tank is possible for this team. Jaylen Brown would literally have to miss more than half the season for them to be considered one of those type of teams. You know what I'm saying? I think they can still compete. Like, they're better than Chicago. They're better than Toronto with Jaylen Brown on the roster. Like, they're better than those teams. It's just reality. If he's a top 15 player, top 20 player in this league, the expectation is that that team should be rolling enough to make a playoff berth. You understand what I'm saying? Like, but because we don't know. The East is just a bunch of injured superstars on each team that you could think of, or aging superstars. But yeah, it's Jason, just take your time, man.
Yeah, man. I think I'm in the camp that he should not play this season. You talked about how people were acting like he's young. Yeah, I think so. What was he? 28, maybe 29, whatever he is. He's an old 28. He's an old 28, old 29 for basketball.
I think I just turned 27.
You're right. You're right. I think it's the same age. I think him and SGA are the same age. But okay, he's an old 27 because he's played in what 5 Eastern Conference finals, 2 finals. Obviously, won a chip, got the Olympics experience under his belt too as well. So there's a lot of miles on that body that your typical 27-year-old does not have. So he has a lot of miles. So a lot of wear and tear there. 27 years old. I've seen it.
Yeah, he is
So yeah,
27, and then if he comes back in March, he's 28. So it's like
so he's probably really in NBA terms, he's probably really like early 30s then, considering all the games he's played. Like he's been in the playoffs. He probably hasn't missed the playoffs at all in his career.
Never
I
missed
don't
a
think he missed the playoffs
playoff.
once.
Yep, never missed a playoff. Played in the bubble. Played in 2 Olympics. He's played a lot of basketball. He's absolutely played a lot of basketball. So this is a perfect opportunity for him to just relax and get his body right.
And he recently left off season. Obviously, signed the biggest contract in the league at the time in league history. So you got that investment. Why would you want to risk that if you're the owner of the Boston Celtics? I know it's kind of hard to tell players to relax and everything, and players push to play. A lot of
Yeah.
guys who are prideful. I respect that, but hey, at this point, I would say he should sit out the rest of the season.
Yeah,
That's what the Boston Celtics mentality should be, at least.
Yeah, I think that's fair to. I agree with you on that. But like, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like, you don't have to push your body all the way to the limit just for like wait it out. Let us see how it goes. Like, you have nothing to prove. But I know how he is. I could tell based on his mannerism and the way he's been talking lately. He really is trying to prove something every single time that he talks. He's trying to prove something, and I get it. The confirmation bias is a big deal for a lot of people nowadays. They want to prove people wrong when they hear it. Like, you see it. We see the likes of Zion, Luka losing that weight, Embiid getting into shape. Like, I'm sure Paul George is fighting hard to play game one. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these dudes keep hearing the chattery about how people are feeling about them and how they feel like, oh, see, I was right about this guy. Look at him. He's fat. I was right about him. He doesn't perform in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to prove everybody wrong, man. There's too much chattery in the fucking social media. So it's like, I get it, Jason Tatum. Like, you really want to prove people wrong. You wanna live up to the standard that you are that you've you know like you created the standard because you are who you are. You were technically the first pick of the draft, in my opinion. You've been a part of an illustrious franchise. You've won a championship. You're an all NBA player, so you don't want to sit out too long so people don't forget who you are. So I get it. But I prefer him to wait it out. And I think the Celtics will be a middling team, at least win about 45 games this year. 45, 46 games. As long as that roster's healthy, they'll figure it out.
Yeah,
But
I say that in the interconference. Yeah, I say that.
yeah,
All that chemistry, the rapport they have with Missoula and everything, and the culture that's built down there. Like, I always tell people, I think that they should tank and just try to like get a high pick next season, maybe get AJ DeBanster. But at the same time, I know the reality that they're not built like that. This organization, they're going to compete
and
regardless of who's going to be available.
I don't think Danny Ainge's gonna let that kid leave Utah at all, man. That
Oh,
Danny
so
Ainge
you
got
mean you're going to go? Utah's going to draft the number one.
all the draft
Man,
picks he
if that
got.
happens, then I think it's definitely a conspiracy with the NBA draft.
I already know, dog.
I'm like 98% convinced after last season, Maz landing the number one overall pick. Oh, you just happen to trade away generational talent, a backdoor deal that nobody had any knowledge of, goes to the biggest market, well, the second biggest media market in the country, in LA, and then all of a sudden you get rewarded with the number one overall pick.
Yeah,
I'm calling conspiracy on that. I don't care what anybody tells me.
I agree. And mind you, Dallas was a playoff team.
Well, they were on the plus team.
They were in the play-in. Yeah,
which is
but they
still crazy. Like,
competed.
yeah, you competed. You could have made the playoffs. You might as well, but they were a 10th seed. Like, you actually had a chance to make the playoffs, and you get rewarded with the number one overall pick. That don't sit right with me, man. I don't know. I don't like it.
Speaking of the Mavericks, in the West, do you have a dark horse team that you feel that's going to come out the woodworks to compete for a playoff berth, or better yet, just compete in general? Do you have any teams out in the West that you think that will creep up out of the blue and make some noise?
I don't know if I really have a particular dark horse team or a team that's gonna make some noise per se. No, not really. I think everybody's gonna make it like that. Pretty much was in the mix for it last season.
I think you're missing a team, man.
Who are they missing?
They didn't make. They have never.
That goes to. Oh, okay. They didn't. That'd have been too easy. Yeah, I mean the Spurs are going to be tough next season. That's okay. I was wrong. The Spurs. I'm thinking like, I mean, I don't think they're going to win a championship. Maybe that's what I was thinking. Like, they're not going to win a championship, but they could be competitive. Wemby looks different, man. He was in a lab with Hakeem in the offseason. He looked like he got his mind right, his body right, like physically, like mentally in a different place, spiritually a different place. So I think he's going to do some big things. I like Dylan Harper a lot. Kind of like getting Dylan Harper is like, damn, like, do we really need to trade for De'Aaron Fox? Now that we got the number two overall pick that ended up to be Dylan Harper. You got Stephon Castle coming back, rookie of the year. They're going to be a solid team defensively. Wemby's probably going to be a defensive player of the year candidate for the next 15 years or something like that. As long as the
rest of his career.
Yeah, he might. I think he's going to break the record for most defensive player of the year. Well, I think it's like 4. I think Mutombo has 4 of those. He might get 5 or 6.
Ben Wallace. I think Ben Wallace got 4.
It's either Ben Wallace or Mutombo. I got to look it up.
Yeah, it's one of those two.
One of those guys.
I think Olajuwon's up there too. I want to say
he's like 2 or 3.
Speaking of, I think Olajuwon is one of the most underrated players that never gets talked about, by the way. Centers of all time. If there was no Shaquille O'Neal, I think he would be the one that people would have talked about for a long time because that man was dominant in both ends. But
okay, so I'm looking at it right now. You got guys who won it 4 times. Oh my goodness, Ben Wallace did it 4 times. Matumbo did it 4 times, and
I think I know the next one. It was the what's
this is like the recent this player.
very recent.
Very recent.
Giannis?
Rudy Gobert got 4 of them things.
Oh, Rudy Gobert, the hated one. The most hated. I know that man.
So Dwight,
Huh?
so Dwight Howard must have 3 of them. I thought he had 4.
Yeah, I forgot about Dwight. Yeah. Dwight does have a few.
Yeah, I'm
And then
telling you, I think women can get 5.
of course. I mean, and the thing is, like, if he didn't get hurt the first 2 seasons like that, he would have at least got one of the two. He was definitely getting it last year.
You get it last year.
He was
Yep, I
definitely
was
getting it last year.
Dwight has 3. That
Dwight
makes
has
sense.
three. Okay. Yeah, I think San Antonio's the dark horse, man. Like they really do have the firepower. They're gonna be living off of that. It's gonna be the Coach Pop philosophy now that he's not coaching. He's not coaching at all now. He's part of the front office now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's
My only
done.
worry with them is the fact that they don't have enough shooting around Wemby. Not enough 3-point shooting around him.
Yeah,
That's my only
yeah.
concern.
I mean, yeah, it would be Fox would have to be their best 3-point shooter. And they have a bunch, like you said, there's a bunch of young dudes. I just don't want him shooting a bunch of threes. Like I think if he could just dominate the paint, shoot like three or four 3-point shots a game, just keep people honest because he could hit 50% of his shots from three if he doesn't shoot a lot of them. You know what I mean? But no, I agree with you. Like I don't know if they have the shooters that will complement what he has to do in the paint. But it's yet to be seen. I think they looked very good in preseason. They were spanking people in preseason. Like with him playing, and he played, I think, every single preseason game. He's just the X factor. There's nobody truly out there that could defend him when he's not trying to play like a point guard all the time. Like if he just stays true to what plays true to his height, he's tough to beat. Do you have anybody in the East that you would look at as dark horse? I know the East is kind of weird. Who's this year's Detroit out of the East?
Damn, I don't know if they would be considered to be this year Detroit, but I really like Orlando. What they're doing in Orlando, Desmond Bain edition that happened like was weird. It happened like during the finals or like right before the finals. But
Right
they
before
got
the
Bain.
finals finished. Yeah,
I think even KD's acquisition, the KD acquisition by the Rockets was during the finals too. It was like, okay, this is kind of weird. You don't really see this happen during the finals, but whatever. Nah, but I love the Desmond Bain edition. I think Paolo can take the next step with Wagner. You still got Jalen Suggs is gonna come back from injury. Not gonna start the season off, but he's gonna come back soon too. So I like that team a lot and what they got there in Orlando. I think that they're building the culture the right way. Kind of like what we've seen with Boston and everything, and like just building, making the right trades, building through the draft and everything. So I think they're going to be a real tough team in the East. I don't know if I said that they're going to go to the finals. 18 months after. I don't know how we shocked, but a lot had to happen for them to get to the finals. But if they were to get to the finals, I wouldn't be necessarily shocked. But I think they definitely got to step in the right direction.
yeah.
Our dark horse in the East too could be the Hawks getting Nickeil Alexander-Walker, getting Kristaps. Even though I was at dinner with a couple of people, and they did say they don't like Kristaps. I'm like, you know what? I think you're right because I never was a big fan of him, but I think that Boston, what they asked him to do, and the pieces around him, made him look a lot more impactful than he usually is on any other team.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, we'll see how this goes for him in Atlanta. And the fact that he's an injury-prone player, but he's in a contract season too, so he might be trying to play for another contract. So he might be motivated.
I did notice that one of their preseason games that they played their 5. He had like a double. So he can be the way that team is because that's a perfect team for him to be in because they spread the ball. Like it's the Trey Young show. You know, you'll have him as a shooter. They have Ricochet, like you mentioned, Nickeil Alexander is over there now. They got somebody else too. I'm trying to remember who it was.
Talking about in the offseason?
Yeah. I feel like they got somebody else, but they have obviously Dyson Daniels is there. They're good. They made him
Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson's back from his injury. So yes, I could look at the roster here too. But yeah, they not only did they get a little bit better offensively, they got better defensively with him as an addition.
Oh, they got Luke Kennard. Not a bad backup.
Yeah, there you go. There's a 3-point shooter. Like, yep, Luke Kennard. Yeah, they have some guys and then they kept Okongwu. Like he will be playing probably power forward. You know, KP doesn't really play 35 minutes a game, so Okongwu will still play his true center position. But if you have the both of them out there, double big, that's not a bad 5 if he's on the starting roster, starting 5. So yeah, I can see Atlanta being a dark horse. Like, and this might be the year that Trey goes off because I don't think he's gonna. They couldn't. I
Yeah.
don't think he's gonna be there long. If that season doesn't end up well, he might end up getting traded.
So he should be motivated to perform and show them wrong, whatever, or those who doubted him, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, that would be a dark horse if I had one. Probably I'd be Atlanta. I don't know if I consider Orlando a dark horse. I think they are legit. They're probably going to finish top 4 in the
Yeah.
East. I think
Yeah. A lot of people are predicting them to
Orlando
be.
will finish top 4 in the East.
Yeah, a lot of people are actually predicting them to be a top 2 team in the East.
It could happen.
Yeah, because let's be honest, they're two big, they're two players, those two wings. They missed significant time with the same injury. Like they both missed like
Yeah.
2 months each. So it's like they barely played a full season with that team, with the team that they had last year. Now they changed up the team and became they're gonna probably fall off a little bit defensively. Jalen Suggs will be back, but they'll fall off a little bit without KCP. But at least you get at least a third option that could actually generate his own offense, especially if those guys end up missing time again. Because I know they're young. They're 23 years old, 24 years old. I don't see them to be the types to be prone to injury now. Those are freak injuries. Oblique tears are very far in between. You don't get those often, you know.
Yeah.
But my dark horse would be, I think I'm gonna have to go with Charlotte, man.
Why? It's the Hornets.
Because if the East is weak, dude, there's gonna be teams that are just gonna fucking tank or just get rid of dudes. Charlotte, if this is the reason why I said LaMelo Ball stays healthy enough, because they have him. Who's the other dude that they drafted? I'm trying to remember his name. Because he
Dude
was
from Duke.
right. Oh yeah, they got the kid from Duke.
Yeah, I forget that. Canup.
Canupel. I can't say his name.
Brandon Miller's tough. He's going to be a tough player.
Brandon Miller, Trey Mann missed some time. He's a good player off the bench. You know, they got Colin Sexton. You know, they have some decent guys. Miles Bridges is still there. Like, they got some decent guys. And that type of offense they run, that's the assistant from the Celtics. They play that same type of offense like the Celtics. They trying to shoot that rock. You know what I'm saying? And LaMelo, when he's healthy, he's actually a top tier player if he's healthy. You know what I'm saying? If you like Trey Young, you should be able to like LaMelo Ball. Like that's the same type of nigga. Like
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just feel like with him, he's more stats, big stats, empty calories type player. I don't know. Like
I
he
mean,
doesn't nothing. It doesn't transcend to winning when he does. Which is
well,
why
that's
like
the thing.
when he's like getting the highest post for the All Star game. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, I gotta remember this kid's he's that generation, the YouTube highlight guy,
No, I hear you.
TikTok highlight guy. But he's good. I think he's talented. He just doesn't
Yeah, I mean,
reach the winning yet in his career.
it's the give and take of being the first pick of the draft. Like you end up with shit team in a shit team most cases. He was the second pick.
Sorry, third pick. Third pick. It was Ant-Man, James Wiseman, then him.
Oh, okay. Damn. Why did you?
People looking back like Golden State should have took him. Golden State should
Why
have took
did?
Melo. I'm like, yo, you probably should have took Melo.
Yo, what was Golden State thinking? Bro? I know what they were thinking. They wanted to stretch big. I get it. But that was bad.
Yeah,
LaMelo
I would take LaMelo over him.
Yo, that'd been crazy if he was a Golden State Warrior. That dynasty would be extended by now.
Even looking back, they could have had Halliburton, but because he went late in the draft, they could have had Halliburton. So
that's just
LaMelo
crazy.
or Halliburton, it should have took in retrospect.
Yeah, so I think I like those like. Well, I'm weird. I like to look at like I seen the Detroit shit last 2 years ago. I seen it. I knew that shit was gonna happen. I knew the trajectory was going up for them. Because I remember the year the Celtics championship year, they were competing with teams. They just were not good enough to finish games. You know what I'm saying? And Cunningham wasn't healthy most of the season. They were able to make it all the way through into the playoffs and damn near beat the Knicks without even Ivy being healthy. You know what I'm saying? And they lost Stewart. So that's not a bad. You know what I'm saying? That's a team also. You know, I think
And they
Monty
got
Williams took them
homie from
back too.
Miami.
Yeah.
Homie from Miami, the shooter, Duncan
Oh
Robinson.
yeah, Duncan Robinson. Yeah, they replaced what's his name with Duncan Robinson. Yeah, Beasley. Now that Beasley could go, Beasley still hasn't been signed.
They could get him back because I think it's been resolved, the whole issue.
Yeah, they should.
The investigation.
Give him the vet minimum. Tell him don't gamble that away. But yeah, I'm gonna go over some of the, basically I like to use the betting odds of like how the season's gonna go. Because Vegas think they know everything. So we could kind of use them as a buffer to see for the predictions. Right now, we're just gonna predict right now awards, who we think's gonna make it to who's gonna make the playoffs. Maybe not even that. Who's gonna make it to the conference finals and who's gonna make it to the finals, and we can predict who's gonna win. You cool with that?
Right, I'm in.
All right, bet. So we'll start off with who you think will come out of the West to make it to their conference finals, and I'll give you my Eastern Conference Finals matchup. And
So
you
you
tell
say,
me,
wait, so you want me to give you my Western Conference Finals matchup?
yeah,
I think it's a two-team race in the league. OKC and Denver. I really don't think anybody can beat OKC in a seven-game series outside of Denver, and I don't think anybody can beat Denver in a seven-game series outside of OKC. This have, I think, the potential to be a, a legit rivalry. Thing we seen last season going the distance with 7 games. At that point, the Nuggets lost gas. They were depleted. Now they just retooled in the offseason. Finally got some common sense up there in the GM department and got Joker like a competent supporting cast, getting Bruce Brown back, getting Tim Hardaway Jr., trading MPJ. Although I like MPJ, but that's the only concept they could have moved and kind of upgraded, and getting Cam Johnson in return. I like what they did in the offseason. I thought that outside of the Rockets, they have the best offseason. So now they're going against the OKC team, who is still young, even though they won their first championship, still relatively young. Guys like Chet and J-Dub got crazy room to improve. Well, I think they both make big jumps this league. This season. So I thought that's going to be a potential rivalry right there.
yeah, I
And if
agree.
I had
I
to pick
agree.
who will win in the 7-game series, I think I would still go with OKC, just because I think that they have so much. I think that version of OKC we saw last season is going to be the worst version of them in the SGA Chet J-Dub era. Because I feel like they shouldn't have won 7 games with Denver. I don't think they should have won 7 games with the Pacers. I think a lot of that had to do to a lack of youth and experience contributed to that. So I do think
Yeah,
that next season they're going to be better. This season they're going to be better. So I think they would win. I would say probably in 6 games. I don't know if I can't see them doing 7 back to back with Denver. So I'll say 6.
yeah. I'm gonna stick with OKC as well, but I'm gonna go with Minnesota.
Really?
Minnesota, OKC, Western Conference Final. Yeah, man. I mean, what Ant's going into year 25? His 25th. He's 20 gonna be 25 this year. He's 25.
He came in the
His
same draft as
fifth
LaMelo was
season.
talking about. So maybe his fifth or sixth season.
Yeah, so that's about the time where players like him, because Luca did it, Tatum did it, those type of players, when they hit their year 25, 24, 25, better yet, I think it's year 25. When they hit that year 25, you get over that hump finally. Or better yet, they've been there already. This will be their third consecutive year in the conference finals. With that being said, I'm picking Minnesota to get out of the West in 7. They
Wow.
have to. At this point, they have to get over the hump, or they're gonna have to blow that team up
I think I got to
and
blow a team up. I don't believe in them.
truly build it around Ant the proper way. I don't think it's really truly built the way they should be building it for him, with the whole Gobert thing and Julius Randle. Even though I think they signed Randle to a long-term deal, but
Yeah, I think they got to upgrade eventually that center spot with Gobert. They're paying him crazy amount of money, but I think you need for Ant's game. You probably need a stretch big who can help spread the floor and open up the lanes for Ant Man to attack the
mhm,
rim more, because we've seen in the playoffs when Gobert's on the floor, how much OKC was able to focus on Ant Man and make life difficult for him down
yeah,
there. You know what I'm saying, when he's trying to attack the rim and everything. Yeah, and I don't know. I didn't believe in them last season, and I'm not saying it because they beat the Lakers. I was wrong. I put the Lakers to beat them. I was completely wrong, but then looking at it, I'm like, damn, that was a really bad matchup for the Lakers. Then, I had to lose to the Warriors. Steph gets hurt in game 1. Warriors end up winning that game. They get swept after. So
yeah,
I didn't think they were even good enough to get to the finals. The college finals, but who knows?
yeah. I don't think they were good enough for the conference finals last year either. But like you said, those going against two teams that are pretty much on the older side, and unfortunately injuries and matchups played a huge part to the results in those. But I think this is the season they have to make it happen, or else the Gorbers, the Connolly situations, gotta let those go. Gotta get those other. They got some young cats in that team that they drafted pretty high, or they drafted well and got. Give those guys those opportunities that they need to get.
Yeah, now they have opportunity when Nikhil Alexander Walker being gone. They're expecting those guys to elevate their game. You know what I'm saying, for this season,
And
and just
yeah,
kind
and
of
big
supplement what they had with him.
right, and the bigger role for DiVincenzo and all that. Yeah, that's gonna be my pick coming out the West. But who you got in the East going to the conference final and going and ultimately making it to the finals?
Probably gonna say Cleveland and New York. It might my safe pick right now. Because I think that the path is such open for those guys with the injuries, the unfortunate injuries to Tatum, the Celtics, and of course Halliburton with the Pacers and everything. But I think if those guys were healthy coming into the season, those two would be 1 and 2 in the East right now. But I definitely people would be picking either the Celtics or the Pacers to come out of the East this year. But it's unfortunate that they're both not going to be able to play.
Yeah.
So we're left with what we have, and I think I would go with the Cavs. I don't know why I'm putting faith in the Cavs, but I just think that with these injuries, the fact that this team was a solid team all season, like they were really neck and neck with OKC for the best record in the league. It's like the last month and a half. And then of course they did lose to the Pacers, but at the same time they had a lot of injuries in that series. I think Mobley missed a game, Darius Garland missed a couple of
Yeah,
games with
yeah.
a toe injury. So it's not
They
like they were
all
like
they had like
they had like
3 starters out in the second game.
on
Shit
the
was
second game. So
crazy.
like I know, oh my god, they beat them, yeah, but there was a lot of injuries there, man. So I don't know if they would have been if they were healthy. I don't know. If we'll never know. It would have been a great series, but who knows? But I do think that Donovan Mitchell is a superstar in this league. Evan Mobley, who came in the same draft, I believe. I'm pretty sure he came in the same draft with Paulo and Chet. I'm pretty sure that was the same draft he was in. So he would probably take a big step this season, I think. I love the addition of Lonzo Ball. I know they lost to
Yeah,
Coro and Ty Jerome, but Lonzo, sneaky pickup at that. But I saw
yeah,
that game, the highlights of that game they had last week in the preseason. There's Lonzo's ability to fit in any offense and just like be a willing passer, and there's 5 guys in transition on the corner, making the pinpoint passes and everything, seeing plays like a half second before or a second and a half before it transpires. Man, I like them. I like them. I like them a lot. So they're my
yeah.
team for the.
I love that pickup. I liked it once I heard it happen. I love that pickup for one reason mainly too. That's one of the biggest things that about that series that people don't talk about. When the injuries were happening, I think Garland was also hurt. That was one of the biggest injuries on there. He hurt his foot or some shit like that. The injuries and the fact that they had to put Ty Jerome out there to play run point, that was absolute garbage. Like when Indiana saw that he was running point, either him or Sam Merrill or whoever else was out there, it was a turnover machine all over the place. The ball handling was poor. When they needed a bucket, those guys were folding. When you get somebody like Lonzo, you know at least he could run the point. He's an unselfish player and he can shoot the three. You know what I'm saying? So you
Yeah,
absolutely get a guy who's very good at what he does, and he's actually is above average defender as well when he's healthy. So
and it helps
definitely I
out
agree with
because Garland. I felt like Garland and Mitchell, that backcourt is too small for defense.
yeah.
They get exposed a lot. So Lonzo, with the size he has, is an upgrade in that aspect for Garland and everything. So that's going to help them a lot. Okay, so I was wrong. I said Katino Mobley. I'm bugging. I meant Evan Mobley. And he was actually drafted in the 2021 draft. So we came in with Cade and Scott and Jalen Suggs and Wagner. They came in the same year. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he could
Okay.
take. I think he could take another step. And he is the reigning defensive player of the year. So yeah, that team's going to be tough.
Yeah. And you got Cavs going to the finals. For me, it's gonna be the Knicks. I think it's gonna be the Knicks and the Cavs. I'm tempted to say Milwaukee because I don't know. Giannis looks kind of crazy, and I think that he gets a younger version of Brooke Lopez with
And Miles Turner.
Miles Turner over there. Um, that might look a little different in the East. And I mean Orlando, I think will creep its ugly head towards that. It's just gonna be. I think it's just gonna be a a mud runner going to that finals. Like I think it's gonna be there's gonna be several teams that we're gonna be looking at like they're good enough to be there. But if the Cavs are truly the same type of team from last year, I can see them winning 60 games again and or getting close to 60 games and making the number 1 seed again. Because they're running it back with the same squad. So I'll go with the Cavs and New York Knicks, and I think the Knicks will make it to the finals this time. I think it's you know how it goes. They took down the beast in the East, which is the Celtics, and now the Celtics are more than likely going to be taking a step back this year. And they want to get their lick back against the Cavs after I think they beat the Cavs a couple seasons ago, but still that rivalry's there. But of course, if it's gonna get them to the finals, I think they will still do because I think they're gonna look much different than they were last year. So I'm gonna go with the Knicks. I'm gonna go with the Knicks going to the finals. So that means for me it would be Knicks, Minnesota Timberwolves, and
Ant-Man on
you,
Broadway.
huh?
That'll do crazy ratings. Ant-Man on Broadway. That would do crazy ratings.
Tell me about
Yeah.
it. And then it brings that trade full circle again too.
Oh yeah, like oh yeah, Cat,
You feel me?
Cat and
Yeah.
Randall,
So
you changing
that'll
each
be
other.
a dope little storyline. And for you, it looks like so you're basically saying what it should have possibly been last year, which was OKC Cavs.
Yeah, the two number one seeds in the conference last year.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be the same case this season. I don't know, man. With the Knicks, like I get, yes, they got rid of Thibodeau and sent Mike Brown, who was more ball movement in his offense and everything. I wonder how they're gonna adapt to that being Jalen Brunson. Since he's so ball dominant, he wasn't that ball dominant obviously in Dallas because he had Luka. But since being in New York, it's been his show. So how is he going to adapt to that? And at the same time, I always said like as good as he is being Jalen Brunson, I don't know if you can realistically rely on him for 3 series to take you to the big stage just because of his size and everything and the load that he carries night
Yeah,
to
he
night,
gets
like
banged.
that offensive load. So I don't know if that's like realistic that you can really count on that.
Yeah, and you can say the
That's
same
my
thing
concern with
about
them.
Carl Anthony Towns too. Like they obviously, played up to a standard against the Celtics. Unfortunately, the Celtics were banged up as well, but they found a way to make it through to that series. But I think the major thing for me that made me really look at them as more of a contender this year is that they shored up that bench. That was a big issue they had last year. We didn't know when they were having certain injuries and stuff like that. When they advanced to that next series after they beat the Celtics, their bench was crippled. Their bench crippled them. They didn't look the same when guys were in foul trouble and all that stuff. So getting Yabusele, getting Clarkson, I believe Hart will be coming off the bench this year.
Mm.
They may be considering having him come off the bench. So if the bench is more shored up this time, they had Brogdon, he retired, but if they could shore up the bench a lot more now than it was before, then this is going to be a different looking team than we're accustomed to. I would assume, but like you mentioned, I don't know what that's going to look with the new coaching staff or the new coaching approach and philosophy with Mike Brown. But you know how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you get energized when that guy comes in. Like I remember when Philly got Doc Rivers the first year, I think it was, and they damn near pushed it toward. They almost went to an Eastern Conference Finals that year. I think that was the year. It was
I'm
one
talking
of the
about when they lost to Atlanta and also Atlanta
yeah.
and Ben Simmons didn't want to shoot the ball and everything and
You
had
feel
a big
me?
dunk.
So right, they could have made it to they could have made it to the finals that year. I mean, they were the one team that could really keep up with the Bucks because you have the best player. You had the best player outside of Giannis on your team. You know what I'm saying with Embiid. So sometimes that could jumpstart a team. Getting rid of the previous coach and going with something different that pretty much may fit your actual playing style a little bit better. So yeah, I got the Knicks Timberwolves, and maybe this is the year the Knicks win it. I guess I don't know. This is what the NBA wants and needs. They need the Knicks. They need the Knicks to be relevant. They need it's just what it is. They just need a relevant franchise to win it finally because it's been outside of the Celtics winning it and Golden State, the parity in the league is like is a lot right now. It's big. So, when you get small markets like a OKC winning it, it does kind of like, you know, it's cool and all. As basketball fans, we love it, but the casual fan is like, really, we had Indiana and OKC, like they don't get excited about stuff like that. But when you get a Knicks or more than likely the Knicks or maybe even Minnesota, not to say Minnesota's a major market, but they have a major market type of player on that team, it's appealing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I think it might be the Knicks winning it, but I'm assuming you're going with OKC back to back.
He's going back to back, I think. I think that this team has the potential to be a dynasty just because of their age, the contract that they were able to have, but they can able to just plug in. They can, when guys get too expensive, they can move them out. Still got this boatload of draft picks coming down the line that they can use to help like replenish the roster and everything to fill out the roster around SGA, Chet, and J Dub. So yeah, I think they're gonna win the chip again. And I think last season would be the worst team in the SGA Chet J Dub era, just because of their youth and inexperience. I think that they're going to
Right.
be like fully motivated to repeat. And of course, a lot of people who say, "Oh, they don't win because Halliburton got hurt in Game 7." That might be motivation for them too as well. And the fact that they're so young that they're gonna be up for every game You know what I'm saying? On any given night, on a random like Tuesday night in Utah, they're gonna be up for it. They're just so young. So, yeah,
Tuesday
I
night.
got OKC winning again.
Yeah, they'll take it personally. And that's like you said, that's the best version of a team that wants to take it personally. I think that's what the Celtics did their championship year. They took it personally every evening. You know what I'm saying? You want to talk about our 3-point shooting? We're gonna keep doing it. You want to talk about how we got it loaded up starting five? Well, guess what? We're gonna bring these guys out every single night. We're gonna beat whoever's in front of us. No matter who's hurt, who's what, that, there, then, what, where, doesn't matter. We're gonna beat you. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to talk all that shit, we're gonna come up and we're gonna ball up. But we're gonna end the episode with our predictions of the awards. I got all the odds, and I'll give you like the top three of the odds. Top three of each one. I'm gonna start off with the Clutch Award. And I will tell you this right now. I'm not a big fan of this award. I don't know why it's even an award.
Me either. I don't give a fuck about it.
I think we're gonna skip the Clutch Award.
Yeah, we can say this.
Adam Silver, get rid of the Clutch Award. You know what I'm saying? Nobody gives a shit about that. Like, nobody wants to give an award to a player because they're clutch. Like, no, that doesn't make no. It's stupid. We know who's clutch in the league. We don't need an award for it. But we'll go with Sixth Man of the Year. This is like a wild card, anyways. I'll give you the top three. That's betting odds, but it's a wild card to me because it's like there's always a one guy that starts having a crate like Ty Jerome last year, like there's always that one guy or Pritchard like come out of the woodworks and just start getting their minutes. They're healthier than usual, and now they're shooting the lights out, and they suddenly they shoot up from being like not even mentioned to being like a top choice for that award. But yeah, so the top three betting odds for Six Man of the Year, we have leading it off is Nas Reed and DeAndre Hunter. They're tied for the best odds. And then Anthony Simons is the third out of that group. Who you got winning that?
So Anthony Thomas is going to come off the bench.
I'm assuming it seems like it. I don't know if these teams give us the starting fives prior to the season starting, but that's the assumption right now. Yeah.
If I was a better man, I'd probably go with Nas Reed in this situation just because the familiarity with the offense. He's been there for so long. He's been a staple there. There's probably going to be more active of him now due to Nikhil being gone down in ATL. So I will go with Nas Reed, who's probably going to play like starter minutes even though he come off the bench or very close to it. And he's going to have the green light to shoot whenever he gets the ball swung to him at the 3-point line. He's not going to hesitate at all. So I go with Nas Reed.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go with Nas Reed as well because he's like you said, it's a familiar role that he's been in. He's starting to see more minutes out of that role. I forgot he actually got that big contract too. So he's gonna try to live up to that. So yeah, I like Nas Reed. I think he's gonna take a lot of minutes out of Gobert based on what you were talking about with the whole having
Spread the offense.
yeah, I could see him being in. I can see ultimately that he'll be starting for them, and they'll have to figure out what that Gobert situation looks like going forward. Just because you got to find a way to keep your star player happy, and I don't think Nas Reed always coming off the bench would be what makes him happy. But if he's gonna continue coming off the bench, then I would go with him as well for Sixth Man of the Year. I'm gonna skip Coach of the Year because that's also another award that's like it all depends on like the team that gets the hottest, like the Cleveland Cavs of last year or Thunder of the year prior. I'm gonna skip that for now. But Defensive Player of the Year, I know who we're gonna pick, but I'm gonna go over the top three odd favorites. We have Victor Wembanyama as the number one obvious. If for those who are betting, he's a -170. So if you bet $10 right now, you'd win like $5 back plus your money. So it's not the worst bet in the world. It's the most obvious for a lot of people. But to round out the top three, we have Chet Holmgren and the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Evan Mobley. Obviously, I'm going to speak for you and say we're both going with Wemby here.
Absolutely, Wemby 100%.
Yeah.
The least in love with him, like what 7'4" wingspans, like probably damn near probably 8
They
foot.
updated his height, man. They're like, yeah, he's no longer that height. He's 2 inches taller now.
Even if he does get beat on dribble penetration, he can easily catch up and just get the ball at the rim and everything.
Just put his arm up.
Dude's a freaking nature, man. I'm gonna go with him. The only way he doesn't win this award is if he doesn't meet the 65 game requirement, which can is in play just because like guys his size, that height, all the feet and knee injuries we see over the year. Let's
Yeah,
knock on wood. I hope it doesn't happen to him. If he didn't win it, I'd probably go with Chet. As long as Chet plays the 15
yeah.
games, I'm
But
gonna play the 65 game requirement. I
yeah,
would go with Chet
it kind
instead of
of
Wemby.
it kind of sucks for Wemby last year. It wasn't even it wasn't even a soft tissue. It wasn't like a ligament. It wasn't none of that. It was just
Yeah.
unfortunately he had blood clots. So it's like his season ended right then and there. But I agree with you. Like if he can't meet the criteria, I can't see why he can't win it. You know what I'm saying? Chet ends up being much more effective than he was last year and competes for it with him. You know what I mean? Or some weird reason Draymond Green suddenly pops up in that shit. That was the craziest thing that he popped up last year as a finalist. I was like, you gotta be shitting me. If they gave that shit to
Over Lou Dort, get the hell out of here, man. I was mad for Lou Dort. Lou Dort should have been a top 3 candidate.
all right, so most improved player of the year, we knew last year was I believe Dyson Daniels won that award last year. So most improved, we got out of the top three of odds in the with the odds in Vegas odds is Eamon Thompson is the number one at plus 1100. Then we have Andrew Nemhard and then Benedict Matherin. Who you got?
Two Pacers, crazy.
And which makes a lot of sense because they're going to start seeing more minutes and more time burn on the court.
Yeah, I was still go with Amen Thompson, kind of like them, seeing a lot of minutes. Obviously, Fred VanVleet's out with the ACL tear, so we're going to see a lot of Amen at point guard and everything. So if he's able to like elevate his game offensively, an improved shooter and everything, he shows off his ability to be a playmaker with having the ball in his hand as much as he's going to have it now. Obviously, the defense is top tier, one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. I think that's what makes him a safe bet to win the award. And the fact that now KD's in Houston, all eyes are on them to take the next step. They finished number 2 seed last season, went to a 7-game series against the Warriors. So I think that is going to be, now we get that experience under his belt. His game only going to elevate. So I go with Amen Thompson for most improved
Yeah,
player out of those
I'm a,
guys.
I'm gonna go with Nemhard because I've seen how he's played when Halliburton wasn't on the was hurt. It has been hurt or whatever. He elevates his game to that next step. And that offense is built for somebody to show out when they get more minutes, anyways. So I'm gonna go with Nemhard. I'm a big fan of his game. He's a baller, good, pretty damn good defender. He knows how to run that offense as well. So I don't think the Pacers will miss. They're gonna miss Halliburton. I'm not saying they're not, but they're not gonna. I don't think that. I think they're gonna still be a playoff team. I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah, yeah. yeah.
If they're still relevant and they're a playoff team, I can see Nemhard winning that award for sure.
That's true.
All right, so now we got Rookie of the Year. Who the obvious favorite right now at minus 180 is Cooper Flag. How do you pronounce this? Edgecombe?
Edgecombe, yeah.
He's at plus 1,000. There's at least 3 guys at plus 1,000. Him, Trey Johnson, and Ace Bailey. I'm gonna go with. I'm not. I'm gonna go with the field, meaning neither one of those 3 that I mentioned. Because although Cooper Flag seems like the most obvious, it's too obvious, right? Only because I only say that because it's the same effect that happened with Tatum. When Tatum joined the Celtics, there was already Kyrie, Al Horford, JB, Hayward was on that starting 5. Matter of fact, Tatum wasn't even on the starting 5 to start off. Marcus Smart was there. They had a veteran-led team that added him. And this is the same case with Dallas. Dallas is a very their 12 to 15 man rosters, all guys that have a lot of experience in the league, who already have played together for a while, played well. So adding him will either showcase him more or he is not going to be able to showcase himself enough because those guys are going to eat before he eats. He just has to get those hustle plays and all that good stuff. So as obvious, like I mentioned, as it is that it could be him, I can see it somebody coming out the woodworks like what happened with Castle last year where we assumed someone else. There was no obvious person of last year. Castle came out of
That, 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 that was the dude on the dude got hurt.
Oh, Jared McCain.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He
McCain.
was
Yeah,
cooking.
yeah, he was cooking. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, before he got hurt, he probably would have won that award because usually it's the rookie on a bad team because you're getting getting your minutes, you're probably leading the team in scoring, whatever. So no, I agree with you. How you feel about that? Rookie of the year.
Yeah, so I talked about my podcast with my mans I did last week, and I was saying how I thought that usually the MVP, it's the MVP, Rookie of the Year, they don't really care about winning more so than they do about stats. And a team like Dallas, it's going to be hard for Cooper to put up numbers on a team like Dallas as opposed to like a Ace Bailey or maybe to an extent Edgecombe, right? Like their teams are more depleted and lack of talent than Dallas and everything. But at the same time, I just feel like Cooper's going to win the award just because of the hype that he has coming into the season and the fact that he's kind of like a utility player at this point. We can do everything. He can run the
Mm-hmm.
floor. He can shoot. He can defend at a high level. He has a crazy motor, high energy. I think that people are gonna like for Cooper Flag. I feel like they're gonna take a lot of those things into consideration, and he's gonna win the award. So I do think he's gonna win it just because of the hype and again everything that he provides to a team and everything, and he's gonna contribute a lot to a Dallas team who was traded away their superstar Luka Doncic. Doesn't have their point guard available in Kyrie until probably at the earliest January. So I think that they're going to take a lot of these things into consideration, and then he's going to win the award. But
Yeah, and
like
I think
him wouldn't win award in that situation.
yeah, if they I did hear like they're gonna consider having him run point.
Yeah,
So I mean, if they're gonna showcase him that way, and he's over there averaging, 13, 7, and 6, or 13, 7, and 5, yeah, I could see it. I could see it because his usage is high, and like he's being very much involved in the offense, and he's obviously gonna be, he's gonna make it hell for a point guard to get around on the defensive end. So, but yeah, that would be the way I could see that happening. But again, like if the team is, once they get Kyrie back, if his usage and his opportunities are less, because they're gonna probably like dial it back a little bit once the midseason comes because they don't want him to burn out, and that's the team that's going to be competing. So it's like very unlikely at times that a competing team has a rookie of the year. So I'm gonna stick with the field, but I agree with you. Like if that's how they handle him, is gonna lead to that award being awarded to him for sure.
yeah.
But last but not least, we have MVP. I'm gonna give you the top five, starting with Nikola Jokic, at plus 220. SGA is the reigning MVP is SGA, so he's second best odds to winning it. Luka's the third best odds of winning MVP, and then you have Giannis and then Wembanyama. Who you got?
Man, I gotta go with back to back for SGA. I think that OKC is going to be probably hovering around 65 wins, 65 plus. Last season, they finished 68 wins. I can see them doing that again easily, even though J-Dub is not going to be available, I believe. Start of the season, get that wrist surgery, so I don't know when he's scheduled to come back. But they weathered the storm last year with him missing 13 games, Chet missing 50 games, Hartenstein missing 25 games. Still won 68 games. SGA, I think it can have another 30 point per game season on 50% or better from the field. I take all that into consideration. I think that he is going to win the award again. Nikola Jokic, there might be, Tim Legler made a good point about this on his podcast. We might have seen the last time Nikola Jokic wins a league MVP. Because think about it, LeBron's won his fourth one how long ago?
Mm-hmm.
And he's been having MVP caliber seasons since his last award. And he hasn't won one. So this probably could be the end of Nikola Jokic winning league MVP.
Yeah.
I would love for it to be Luka, but I mean, it's kind of crazy. Luka and SGA come in the same draft. After the first season, you would never thought that SGA would win an MVP award before Luka. You would never think that after their rookie season. So I mean, Luka's been like an MVP, heavy MVP favorite for the last several seasons. Hasn't got it done yet. So I don't know if I can really rely on him to do it, especially with this team, because I don't know if they had the record that will justify him getting the award. So I would be a safe bet. I go with SGA to win the award.
My long shot is gonna be Wembanyama. That's my long shot. Like if he truly is gonna play this like a generational talent that we know that he is, I think he's in his year 21 now. If
Yes,
he,
sir.
dude, if he plays up to what I believe, I think if he ends up being like a 28, like 28, 13, and averages 4 blocks a game, it's hard to deny that he is not a MVP. It's hard to deny, especially if San Antonio is a top 5 team in the West or top 4 team in the West. That's my long shot would be him. But if it's not if anything, I might go with Luka on that one, only because that's one thing that hasn't been on his portfolio and resume is the MVP, like you mentioned, something that
Mm-hmm.
SGA, and if he's able to carry the Lakers with, the possibility of LeBron, most likely, I can see LeBron still finding his way into 65 games, but he's gonna load manage or play less minutes in some games.
That's a good point you just brought up. So my thinking too with Luka, I didn't mention this. I'm looking at that. LeBron plays. I don't think that anybody is going to win the league MVP with LeBron being on their team. But what if LeBron doesn't play the 65 game minimum requirement for these awards? So that means he's disqualified for All NBA. And what if the Lakers still sit there for the top 5 seed? What if they want a 4 seed? You can
You
make a
feel
good
me?
case for Luka. So that can help Luka a lot, depending on how much games LeBron plays this season or
Yeah.
doesn't play.
And I think the fact that the offseason for Luka was a positive offseason where he's getting good, he was getting a lot of good like headlines about how he, reshaped his body with his fitness and, the fact that
In Fitness Mag.
yep, Fitness Mag, he played well overseas. I think did he play 1 or 2 preseason games? He played 1 or 2. I think he played 2.
I think too.
Yeah, so he played 2 preseason games. In his last preseason game, I think he scored like 24, like 8 rebounds, 5 assists.
Too easy for him, man. It's too easy
Yeah,
for an offense.
he's legitimately gonna still do the same stuff. If he does what he did in his last Dallas season with the body type that he has right now and plays, just about average of defense, I don't expect somebody who has a big usage on offense to be a great defender all the time. If he's somewhat close to average defensively, I can see him winning MVP. The Lakers need him. The Lakers need him like really bad because you can't rely on LeBron anymore. He's up there now. He's at a point of his career like he's gonna have to load manage. He's much more involved in his extracurriculars more than ever now. So you can't expect LeBron to carry them or help them get carried. And this is your future right there. And this is the start of it now. So I can see it being Luka.
Yeah. If I think about that, he has a good chance to win it. He has a really good chance to win it. But I would still pick SGA just because I think that he's amazing. And the team's going to be good. The team record's going to be there. And individual stats are going to be there. Even though some guys miss a lot of games, they're not going to miss a beat because they're just too deep and their defense is crazy. I will go to SGA when they would.
Yeah, and I'll back you on the SGA idea only if the Thunder somehow threaten, because they almost did last year, and they might do it again. If they somehow threaten that best record, the best winning season of all time,
which is the Warriors 73-9.
Yeah, and I think what they won 68 last year, 69. They were close.
As I mentioned, with all the injuries they had.
Yeah, they were close with all those injuries. No Chet for a good portion of the season.
50 games
J-Dub
you
this
missed.
time. They were close. If they somehow win streak, no, was it 25 game win streak?
I missed 25 games. Caruso missed like 15
Yeah.
plus.
Harvey did miss a lot of time too. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
15 plus, so
If they find a way to threaten that record or even get close to 70 wins, I can see SGA winning again. Because he's a durable player too. That's one thing. Like availability is the best is reliability right there. Like when the team could rely on you to be on that court and be available, that part of the criteria of being a most valuable player. When you're missing time and they can't rely on you because you're injury prone, there's nothing you can't expect to be awarded for that. You know what I mean? But yeah, that is our end of our episode, predicting the NBA season coming up. Hopefully we can link up for more of these episodes. I'm gonna try to orchestrate it best we can, like maybe every 3 weeks or whatever, because the NBA is ongoing. I don't mind doing every week. It's just that life be life, and sometimes so I can't
got that right.
I can't overpromise for that. And the NBA, like I mentioned, is like it's you gotta let it marinate a little bit before we start really chatting too much about it. But we'll link up and talk more basketball and maybe even check out like record live while we're watching the game because I'm interested to see how this whole like inside the NBA looks like because they're gonna be on multiple platforms this year.
It premieres Wednesday, ESPN.
Yeah. They premiere on Wednesday on ESPN, but I believe they're going to be on Yahoo or no, Amazon.
They're going to ESPN.
No, I thought they were on multiple platforms.
Oh, not ESPN. Inside the NBA. I can send you the tweet when we get off this. I just seen it today.
Oh,
yeah,
so they have
ESPN.
schedule? Oh, okay. Damn, why do they have to be on ESPN, man? Fuck.
So yeah, supposedly they're not going to change anything. It's going to be the same show we all came to love. I'll believe it when I see it.
I know, right? If they don't,
Breaking news from Shams. I just saw that when I just pulled it up right now. Aaron Neesmith of the Pacers agreed to a 2-year, $40 million contract with the
yep,
franchise
I
through
just saw that
2028,
too.
2029.
Yeah, I just saw that too. Oh, okay.
No brainer. I love him when he does and everything. I love what he brings to the team, so that's a no brainer.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. I think that's why I think the Pacers won't. They'll miss a beat because Halliburton was absolutely on a heater the whole playoffs. But nonetheless, they shouldn't miss much of a beat. That team is very much. They have a hive mind. They just move a certain type of way. No matter who goes down, they find a way to continue to compete.
Yep, so here we go. I think I see it. Yeah. So on Wednesday, when the season tips off, we got the tip off at 6 on ESPN, 7 p.m. Cavs at Knicks, 9:30 Spurs at Mavs, and post game is Inside the NBA on ESPN with Ernie, Chuck, Jack, and Charles.
This will be interesting. I hate you, ESPN. I hate that you are making me have to watch ESPN for post game. I'm so mad, bro.
Well, you know something? They're doing basically, essentially, the Pat McAfee deal, where they just got the license for it, where they're going to be still out of Atlanta. It's still Turner going to be running it. There's going to be airing it on ESPN. That's what has been said. So nothing's going to change from the presentation of the show and everything. That's what they say. All I want is to
I'll
see
believe
it,
when I see
but
it. Like you
to
said, I'll
confirm
believe
it.
it when I freaking see it. Because it sounds good. All right, man. Let the people know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, man. So you can find me on IG at the Mr. Vincent Pod. That's where I put some content up there, along with the link for my newsletter. That newsletter will be out probably by Thursday or Wednesday, rather. I should have that up. And then a link for my YouTube is there too, at Mr. Vincent. I'm actually about to post my episode I did on the weekend on YouTube after this, so it should be up by tomorrow morning for my podcast, the Mr. Vincent Podcast. Also, too, if you ever need a 360 photo booth or photo booth for your party or your function, holla at me too. At Mr. Vincent's Party Supplies at Mr. V's Party Supplies on IG. For your photo booth need and your 360 photo booth need for any function, I got you. So you can holla at me there.
Like I told y'all, this is a Swiss Army knife. The portfolio is big. My man's is always he's always in, like, this is the holiday season too. I know y'all need that 360 out there. So you make sure you plug in and link up with Mr. Vincent himself. And if you need the 360 experience, and also check out the newsletter as well. And I've obviously check out his podcast, Mr. Vincent Podcast. But once again, bro, thank you for joining me on the podcast. We'll definitely chop it up throughout the NBA season more than usual. I think we deserve to give the content to the people of our perspective and our opinions on the season and everything. Because I think this is going to be one of those different type of seasons. Although it may look as if Oklahoma City might take it again. You never fucking know. You know, we didn't know how last season was going to end. Nobody could have predicted that the Pacers were going to go 7 against OKC last year or even make it to the finals. You never
Very
know.
true.
You never want to assume. This is the best time I think, although we see, like, to cross sports a little bit, although we've seen the Dodgers make it to the World Series, I've never seen so much parity in all three major professional sports that I have now. There's a lot of teams I've never would have expected to see competing or winning. So it's a fun time to be a sports fan. Make sure y'all give me a thumbs up when you find this on the YouTube. Subscribe and share it to whoever wants to hear me blab about sports and my brother, Mr. Vincent. But till next time, y'all, we out.
All right, man.